Hello, good morning, everyone. Wow, so good to see you all here today. Excuse me. Let's do that again. Blessed assurance. Good morning. Welcome to our Friday live. It's so great to see you guys here today. And if you're just joining, let us know where you're joining from. I'm Ify, the marriage green card lawyer based in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I serve clients nationwide. So I'd like to know where you all are watching me from. Thank you so much for today. We missed you last Friday because it was Thanksgiving, so we took a little break and we weren't here on Friday. Hope you guys had a great time with your families and spent some time to reflect, to be grateful for everything that we have experienced for the past 12 months. Can you guys believe we are in the last month of 2022? Amazing. Like, that was so quick. I had so many plans. I know some other people had plans and didn't even make it to see today. And even right up to this live, I was still, writing down plans and making plans. And, we should just be very thankful that we're even alive to make those plans. So that's the first thing when you wake up in the morning, it's gratitude. Okay? So it's gratitude season. Thank you so much for joining. I'm always so grateful for all of you guys who joined, for my team, for ICE who makes this possible, for all of you guys watching, commenting, sharing, and all of that. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Okay? All right, we're going to get into today's topic. It's going to go by pretty quickly so that we can spend the remaining time in this live answering some of your questions. I really enjoy the Q&A part of the live, so stick around and make sure you ask your questions in the comments so that we can provide some guidance and, just basically brainstorm your situation because every case is different and you definitely need to talk to an attorney before you make any decisions about your case. Okay? All right. So today's topic is green card mistakes for your interview you should avoid. 5 mistakes you should avoid for your green card interview. Okay? Many of you watching me right now, especially in my Facebook group, Green Card Through Marriage, you are currently filing your permanent residency through a marriage and you're either waiting for your interview or maybe your interview was waived. If you guys want to know about the criteria for waived interviews, check out my previous live from, I think, 2 Fridays ago. We talked about waiving of green card interviews, basically a new USCIS rule to help with the backlogs. Okay, so, but many of you haven't received that waiver yet, maybe because your marriage is still new and you're going to be called for an interview, or you already got a notice on the website saying case ready to be scheduled for an interview. That's a very popular status that we see. So if you're in that category, make sure you pay attention to this live. I have 5 mistakes you should avoid so we can go through it together. And if you have any questions about your interview coming up, if you need some guidance, if you need a mock interview, or if you need just questions, we can help you with that. So reach out to my team, let us know in the comments. We'll help you with preparing for your green card interview. All right? Okay. So 5 mistakes to avoid. The first mistake, this one seems obvious, but this is very important to note because many people have gotten their interview denied just because, their green card denied, not just the interview, because they didn't attend their interview. Okay, your interview is the last part of your process, and the very first thing you should keep in mind to avoid is missing that appointment or going late. Going late is basically the same thing as missing the appointment because when you essentially, if you go later than a certain amount of time, they essentially just cancel that you didn't show up and you can get denied for not showing up. Okay, that's very painful when that happens because you have to start over. So there's no real, in that type of scenario, you didn't get denied because your case wasn't legit or something. You just got denied because you didn't show up and they couldn't pretty much finalize the process and they made that decision. Is usually a denial. So the first mistake you want to avoid is going late or missing your appointment to avoid unnecessary delays or denials in your case. Okay, make sure you set that time. Once you get that interview letter, put that time into your calendar so that you don't forget. Okay, if you have ADHD like me, you know that keeping to time is just something that you're gonna keep working on forever. So for this particular important time, make sure you put all sorts of reminders. Make sure you're the night before you get enough rest, because another reason why people go late is because they didn't figure out it was going to take like an hour. They didn't consider traffic. You just kind of start driving right 30 minutes before. So you make sure you get there on time. Check in. In this pandemic times, you probably have to wait outside, which is fine, but at least you've already checked in and they know you're there, so they won't just deny you for not showing up. So that's important to note. The second mistake you should not make for your green card interview, and like I said, most of you guys watching me right now, I know you filed a marriage-based green card and you're waiting for your interview. So in those types of interviews, you definitely need to be going with your spouse, okay? The one mistake that will lead you to straight denial is going to that interview without your spouse. All right. If there's been any incident or any reason why you can't go with your spouse, the best decision at that point is to contact an attorney, for one, so that you can reschedule that appointment and figure out your next best option to still get your green card. Because if you go to that interview because your spouse is abusive and didn't want to come, and you go by yourself, they're not going to consider the green card anymore, because it's a spousal based green card. You have to go with your spouse. All right. If you file for any other type of green card, like for your parents, or if it's just an employment-based green card, you most likely may not have an interview. And if you do, it's going to be a different criteria. But for spousal green cards, you have to go with your petitioning spouse. Okay? So make sure that you do that. Like I said, if there's a reason why you can't, reach out to a lawyer to get clarity on your next option, as depending on what the situation is. If it's just a question of rescheduling because someone is sick, because life is just what it is, just still let someone know instead of showing up by yourself. Okay? I see some comments coming in. We're going to get into the questions. I just prefer to just go through the points for the day so that you guys can get that information and possibly ask questions about what I'm talking about. So let's get to the third mistake you want to avoid if you're going for your marriage-based green card interview, is going unprepared without practicing your questions or without additional documents to support your application. All right. This one is actually very, very important. If you're going to make it on time, the first one, definitely don't miss it, right? But if you're going to make it on time and you go unprepared, then you might as well have just not gone, because it's still going to have the same effect, same delays, because now they might separate you and your spouse because you didn't answer questions, properly to their satisfaction. It doesn't have to be perfect, because there's no perfect marriage, no perfect anything anywhere. So, but you have to at least have a 50%, matching in your answers, right? If it's less than 50%, they will definitely be calling you back. And you can simply avoid this by just using our practice questions. We have 150 practice questions that we give to our clients who we help prepare for the interviews. But if you just want some questions to practice, if you're in my group, you can reach out to us in the comments right now, or in the group. I just post I want the 20 questions. So we can give you 20 questions for free, so you can start the practice to know what types of questions to expect at your green card interview. Okay? So, but anyway, if you go unprepared without practicing these questions, and then they ask you something simple that but basically you just have a different version of that same thing, that may cause some confusions. And then they will be like, okay, you need a Stokes interview. Stokes interview is where they separate the husband and the wife, right? And give you a separate interview. And you definitely don't want to do all of that. Not because you will get denied automatically, because I've helped couples with Stokes interview preparation and attendance, and they still got approved. Okay, so that's not the end of it, but it just adds additional complications that we could have avoided if we just practiced in the first place and prepared. Okay. So as for documents, A very good type of document you can take to your interview to prove bona fide marriage is your bank statements. All right. Bank statements are good because you can basically have a more current bank statement to show the progression of your relationship over time, essentially. So green cards these days are taking up to freaking 2 years, okay, 24 months. I just called USCIS today, and I have a client that's been pending for like 23 months. They're trying to push her to the very end of things, and that's kind of annoying, but that's just they have that's timeline to do that. So it's taken 2 years. So let's just say you applied in like 2020. Okay, this is 2022. You submitted 3 bank statements from 2020 to prove bona fide marriage. That's fine. So now in 2022, you get called for an interview. You know, if they ask you, hey, because that's the first thing they do ask. Once you get in, they're gonna be like, do you have any documents for me or anything you want me to see? Sometimes it's not required because on the letter they'll tell you, make sure you come with your spouse, make sure you bring this and that. Sometimes you already submitted it, like your I-864, you already submitted. That's fine. You don't have to bring in another form, right? But you can definitely supplement some of your documents, right, with fresh ones, new ones, according to the time. So bank statements is a great one because, I mean, you've been living, you've been paying your rent, you've been traveling or doing whatever with your bank account. So they give you your Wells Fargo or Bank of America, they give you a bank statement every month, right? So on the month of the interview, the month before, or even 3 months, you can just take new ones with you. Just be like, hey, this is proof that we've been living together and we've been doing everything. That speeds up the process so the person doesn't have to start asking, even deeper questions just to figure out if your life is commingled or not. Okay? So that's a very important one to keep in mind, and definitely reach out to us. My number is on the screen if you need assistance with green card preparation, or if you just want to have access to the questions, just let us know. Okay? All right, we're going to go to the 4th mistake you want to avoid for your green card interview, right? This one is also very important. I'm just going to say all of them are important at this point because each and every one of them really plays a part in how you're going to, the final results. Like, it's going to play a part in what's going to happen at the end. Making up answers when you forget something is definitely something you don't want to do during your interview, okay? Even if you practice with us, there's still a chance that they could ask you something. I've attended several interviews and I've been with clients who, like, we literally just talked about something like right now. And once the interviewer asks them, they just freeze and just like they start saying something completely different. And I've seen that happen. So, and it's nothing bad because they still get approved because, like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. But the one thing you just don't want to do, because these interviews are recorded, is just kind of make up an answer. It's just better to say, you know what, I forgot. I just really can't remember the exact thing right now. I know it happened, but I just can't remember, or I just don't know if it happened or not. Something like that is fine. Okay, because if you are basically just trying to, if you think that by making up an answer, you're going to make them approve you quicker or something like that, that's going to actually hurt your case. So just say you forgot and they will ask you something else. Remember, the point is not to get all these, this is not an exam where you're trying to get 100%, okay? You're trying to prove to them that the marriage is bona fide, and by your answers, that's how you're doing it. So if you're making up your answers, then that means your marriage is not bona fide, okay? But if you don't remember, because, normal people forget stuff too. If they ask you what's your spouse birthday or when's your anniversary or whatever, you should know that stuff. That's part of the questions we have in our question booklet. But if you forgot for whatever reason because you're nervous or whatever, just be like, I don't know. I think it was August, something, but I really don't know, right? Because you don't want to say on record what you don't know. Okay, make sure you know. You can't confer with your spouse right there and then. That's why they also do the separated interview. You can't really be like asking someone to answer for you. Even when I attend, I can't answer for you. I can potentially help to maybe ask the officer to rephrase the question or something in case you don't understand. Because I actually had that happen one time when there was a question about a carpet and a rug. And, my client is Nigerian, and I think we call everything like rug, right? Even though rugs mean, I think, the movable kinds versus carpet that's like all over the floor and stuff like that. But he just kept saying rogue, and there was just this confusion, and I helped clarify the difference, and then he was able to be like, oh, I get it. So if you don't understand, just say you don't understand, or you don't get it, you don't remember, and then you can move on to something else. There's a bunch of questions. Okay, I have 150 of them. There's more, but I got those questions from attending interviews with my clients, so those are definitely helpful. All right. And the final mistake I'm going to talk about here before we finally get to the questions for today is arguing with the USCIS officer. That's like something every one of us should keep in mind, including myself as the attorney. Okay, because sometimes, things are just not fair because of whatever reason. Everyone comes with a bias. There's just different things that could come up at an interview that could be offensive, some questions they may ask. I've seen people get offended about the prostitution question, which is on the form, right? But when they're asking it to you verbally, it probably just sounds different. And they're like, what? God forbid, whatever. It's not, don't take it personally. That's just the point of this. None of this is personal. It's a process you applied, and the burden of proof is on you to tell them that you qualify. And for me as an attorney, even when things are unfair, there's legal ways to actually handle that type of stuff. There's no need to argue with somebody who literally is making a decision for you right there and then. So if something is not fair, reach out to a lawyer. There's always ways to go around getting your due process. Okay, you just don't need to argue with anyone basically in life. Okay. Most especially not your USCIS officer, because they could literally just stamp denied just because they too got mad or whatever. So we just don't need to go down that route. If we're always here to support. If there's anything going on that you think you're not getting your due process, someone is not, you have all the documents, there's no reason why you should have been denied or whatever type of thing, make sure you reach out to an attorney, reach out to us. We can help you with that. Okay. I believe I've gone through all the points for today. But essentially, if you need help with this stuff, like I said, my phone number is on the screen. You can book a call with us, or just give us a call, actually, and we can help you figure out what type of service you need. We offer marriage-based green card services, as well as naturalization services, waiver services, just anything related to getting your green card through family, or if you've been abused by your U.S. citizen spouse or family member and you qualify for VAWA or any other type of humanitarian visas, we can help you with that. So definitely give us a call if you're watching this live right now. And thank you very much for those who always let me know, either in the comments or my DMs or even WhatsApp after the lives. If you watch my lives, I thank you guys for watching and sharing and reaching out to me to thank me. It's this full circle of gratitude is great. So let's keep it up. And let's see what we have as far as comments here. Thank you so much, Isa, for your greetings from the Philippines. Yes, I'm glad to be here too. Today we're missing our TikTok live peeps just because of some technical difficulties, but we'll be back strong in our future lives, and keep an eye out for our webinars. We're going to be doing different workshops and webinars to help you guys prepare for either your interview or just your filing, whatever stage of the process you're at. We're going to have different resources coming up in the next couple weeks before the holidays, so that we can get some applications out there. Right now, I think USCIS, I'm not sure when they actually stop working. I believe they do take some breaks this time of the year. So let's keep that in mind as well when we are applying. But nonetheless, if you apply by December, you're going to know that at least by next December you should have heard something. Even if it's not your full approval, you have your work authorization or your travel permit or something. Okay, so keep that in mind and reach out to us, and let's do this. I see one question from someone on Facebook. Let's answer that and see where we go from there. Okay. Does the timeline frame USCIS gives really work? That's a great question. Facebook user. I can't see your name, but thank you for asking. And to be very honest, I really think it's just a guesstimation of how long it's going to take. Because like I said, one of my clients is already at the 23rd month of waiting for her approval. She already has a work authorization and travel permit, so that's fine. And she attended the interview. It went well. Everything is fine. But it's just still within that processing time. And once it passes that time, then we can have a standing to actually either request some type of mandamus or Congress or something to get that stuff moving quickly. So it works because people do get their approvals or decisions within that time frame, but sometimes it just stretches out for so long. Okay, and that's something we just have to deal with. I try to encourage my clients. I've been speaking to different clients about, because part of our service is to provide that additional support to help you just feel confident about your process while you're waiting. Because 2 years, I mean, it's so heartbreaking sometimes. But I'll just tell my client, like, hey, listen, green card is just one aspect of your life, okay? While you're waiting for this green card, don't just sit around for 2 years just kind of waiting, instead of living, right? Make sure that you find other ways to participate in your communities, volunteer. I have one of my favorite clients, Richard. I'm actually going to get him on this live one of these days to talk about his experience, because we had this same conversation and now he's been volunteering in his states and just really participating in his community without violating any immigration rules and just waiting for his process, in a happy mindset. So that's what I want my clients to focus on. Just, finding other ways to meet your spouse. If your spouse is out of the USA, meet in another country just so that you can spend time with your spouse. Like, green card is not going to stop you from living your life, because even I've had clients, well, actually, let me not say client, but I've seen people who are in the middle of this process and then they pass away. Okay. You can still, we're still human beings, even though we're applying for this green card and doing these things. So don't let just a simple green card application hinder you from living your life, both during the process. That's why you go to a professional to just help you. So you don't have to even just spend time on that. During the process, after the process, just file, know that everything is taken care of, and then just move on. Okay, and wait and check every month, call, figure out what's going on instead of being so weary and so time consumed and just like not being able to move. If you're in an abusive situation and you're not able to move, and I mean physically, like not just, you're just like depressed and oppressed, still reach out to us. If you have social media, you can DM us. We can find discreet ways to speak to you and help you out of that situation. That's your focus. And then getting your permanent residency will definitely be an additional thing to help you really experience that freedom through earning income, earning money, being able to fulfill your passions in that way. But in the meantime, you're free. You can do whatever you want. Number one, if you have a pending I-485, you're not even going to get deported. So there's nothing to worry about there because you have a pending I-485. And anything else that's, that's the issue, well, you can't travel. You can definitely travel within the USA. There are like 50 states. So you can start, get on a Greyhound or something. You don't have to even fly, And that with your pending I-485, even if you get asked for any immigration document, you can show that and just move on with your life. So, yes, the timeline, it doesn't really work all the time, but, we can only just do what we can while we're waiting. And once it's over the processing time, the time they promised, we can just ask for some type of expedite, or like I said, go to your Congress for help and all of that. All right. Yeah, that was a whole long-winded answer just because I'm very passionate about helping my clients find freedom. And I really want them to know that freedom is not just only within your green card. Okay. But as an immigration lawyer, I'll definitely help you get that permanent residency so that you can work, travel, be with your family in peace and not worry about getting deported and things like that, especially when you're in a country where you aren't a born citizen or anything like that. And since we as a people, humans, I mean, have decided to do a government system and have immigration and have all these things, understandably, we just have to kind of follow those rules, and that's where green card comes in. Otherwise, you're still just a human being that's just free in yourself, in your body. Okay? So yeah. But I don't think we have more questions today because my TikTok guys aren't here. They're usually with all the questions, but that's okay. I really enjoyed you guys on my Facebook group, my Facebook page. Thank you for watching. I will be here again next Friday, or maybe it might be one of the webinars. Just make sure you follow my pages on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, anywhere that you're watching this so that you can stay notified whenever we're going live or doing any of the programs or workshops I mentioned. Okay? So, with that being said, blessed assurance. Thank you all again for watching me, and I will see you next Friday. Okay? All right. Bye-bye.